Oh, hello, Year 5. Sorry, I didn't see you there. How's it going? I was just sitting enjoying the lovely sunshine. Well, seeing as you're here, I thought I might start reading chapter 5 of Cosmic to you. What a lovely day. Just been enjoying the lovely sunshine, reading some books, playing some games. It's been very nice. Anyway, let's crack on. Chapter 5, My Visible Friend. There were about 10 million meetings and letters home about my peculiar and disruptive behaviour at school assembly. Mrs. Sass decided that the problem was that I had poor social skills, because I was only a child. He doesn't mix with the other children. He's an isolated figure on the playground. Wouldn't you be an isolated figure if people followed you around shouting, "Sir, sir," or "Wolverine," or yelling, "Hello up there," a million times a day? I mean, what did they want me to do? Shrink? Dad said, "You need to try and make some friends." I've got lots of friends. I've got 20 guild members just waiting to do my bidding. I'm talking about real life, not computers. I don't accept that distinction. That's exactly my point, said Dad. You need a friend who's visible to the naked eye. The point about World of Warcraft is that the other players don't know how tall or short or fat or thin you are. They just accept you for what you are. Namely, in my case, a highly skilled night elf with healing powers. This wasn't enough for Mum and Dad, so they sent me to the Little Stars drama group. Every Saturday morning. Lisa, the girl who ran it, didn't seem impressed with my poor social skills. She sucked her teeth and looked me up and down and said, "We're really a children's theatre group." "He's 12, said Dad. "What, mental age?" "No, physical age. And mental, I suppose. He's 12, mentally, physically, emotionally, the lot. He's just a bit tall and stubbly." "Oh!" She looked like she didn't believe him. I showed her my passport. "He's a clever lad. He's gifted and talented," said Dad. "He's not exactly a little star, though, is he?" said Lisa. "I suppose if we did The Big Friendly Giant, he'd be perfect." "So," she smiled, "why didn't we do that then?" So we did. Florida Kirby was already a fully paid up little star. Lisa gave her the part of the giant's little friend, Sophie. "The Sophie in the play," Florida said, "was named after Sophie Dahl, the supermodel. So when I play Sophie, I'm playing a young supermodel." Florida always has to be a celebrity. When Lisa made us do a role play in which we had to act like we'd seen a ghost, Florida saw the ghost of Britney Spears. When we had to pretend to be a dog, she was Madonna's dog. As we walked home through the Strand the first day, Florida kept practicing her lines on me. The lines were mostly things like, "You're huge," "Goodness, you're tall," or "You're proper gigantic." And she said them all in her best little star's loud and clear voice. I sat down on one of the benches by the water feature just to be a little less tall for a while. "If we sit here," said Florida, "security will come and chase us. They hate kids hanging around this bench. They hate kids, really." But security didn't come and chase us. In fact, one of them walked past us and nodded at me. "What's going on?" said Florida. "They think," I explained, "that you are with me and that I'm your dad." "No, you're kidding. Do they? Do they honest?" "Yes." "But this is brilliant." And she was right. We could do anything, so we did. That Saturday and every Saturday from then on, we played on the lifts, messed about in the photo booth, went into Total Games and tried out all the new releases. We even went into News and Booze, which is strictly no unaccompanied children under any circumstances. Florida loved it in there because she could browse through all the celebrity magazines while I bought a newspaper to make myself look more dadly. Sometimes she used to give me £1 before we went outside so I could buy her chocolate. I said, "Buy your own chocolate." Girls do not buy their own chocolate when they're out with their dads. Dads buy it for them. She even tried to get me to buy her cigarettes. Dads don't buy their children cigarettes. My actual dad would. He'd do anything for me. He's going to buy me a pony. Ask your actual dad then. Once I went in there without her, and the woman behind the counter said, "Where's your little princess today then?" How much did Florida love that when I told her? "Princess is brilliant. You have to call me princess." "I don't think so." "Why not? My dad calls me princess all the time." "We'll talk about this another time," I said. "Whoa, you really sounded like a dad when you said that." "Thanks." Another time, she brought her little sister Ibiza with her. "Oh, another one," said the woman in News and Booze. "I didn't know you had two. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it's so lovely to see a young dad spending time with his girls the way you do. And they're both a credit to you. Aren't you lucky girls to have such a good dad?" And she gave them a chomp bar each. It was golden time, and maybe we should have stopped there. But if you play a lot of games, then the moment you get good at something, that feels like level 1. You start itching to level up. One day, Lisa had to finish early because her dad was ill. We could have spent the time in the Strand doing all the usual things, or we could have used the extra time to look for level 2. The 61 stops right outside the parish hall and goes all the way to Liverpool's celebrated city centre. So there it was, the way to level 2. Being a grown-up in the Strand was fun. Being a grown-up in Liverpool's celebrated city centre was totally cosmic. The moment we got off the bus, a woman in a white miniskirt and a red sash came up, said hello, and gave me a free sample of a new yoghurt drink. "Here," she said, "have a couple more for your little girl." We hadn't even finished drinking them when another woman gave me a free newspaper, and another one, in a trouser suit, asked me if I had 5 minutes to answer some questions. The questions were mostly about how we had got to town and what our favourite shops were. Then there were a few about what year I was born and what I did for a living. I gave my dad's birthday and told her I was a taxi driver. She said, "Would you like to come here with me and taste a new sandwich spread we're developing and on which we'd value your opinion?" She took us to a really nice room and gave us free sandwiches and fizzy water. Afterwards, we had to fill in questionnaires and we were allowed to keep the pens. Florida asked us for more sandwiches. The woman in the trouser suit laughed and said, "I guess that's all the feedback we need." "So, can we have some more then?" "No." Year 5. That isn't the end of chapter 5, but we've got someone very, very special to finish it off. I hope you enjoy the special guest.
Hi Pound Hill Juniors, I am Frank Cottrell Boyce. I wrote this book, Cosmic, which I think you're reading and I hope you're loving. I loved writing it, and today I'm going to read you a little bit of it. I had the best time writing this book because I spoke to a lot, well, first of all, because I'd always wanted to be an astronaut. I don't want to give the game away, but this book ends in space. And I spoke to lots of astronauts when I was writing this book, and they were very kind and they're very helpful. I spoke to someone who'd walked on the moon, who makes a little appearance in the book. Someone who's really, really, really walked on the moon, which is amazing. And I also got given this. This is a tiny piece of moon rock that's from the moon. But I'm going to read you this little bit now, just a little bit, just to say hello, really. This is the bit where Florida and Liam go and visit a car showroom. We ended up near the world-famous waterfront, looking in the window of the Porsche showroom. Florida said, "That's going too far, isn't it?" And I said, "I don't know, let's find out." I was getting that crispy New World feeling again. It was the first time I'd ever been in a car showroom. I'd never seen a car on a carpet before. It was like being in the living room of the posh car family. The cars looked smaller and glossier than they usually do. A man in a suit saw us come in and said, "With you in a moment, help yourself to tea and coffee." There was a coffee machine and a plate of biscuits. Disappointingly, mostly plain digestive. Florida nabbed the only bourbon. Then she walked around dropping crumbs on the carpet. There was one really nice, sleek-looking car. Florida said, "Take a picture of me with this." Why? Because that's what dads do. So she leaned on the bonnet and smiled while I took her picture, and straight away the man in the suit was standing next to us. "I admire your taste," he said. Florida said, This is a Porsche Boxster. Wayne Rooney's got one of these. He has indeed, said the man in the suit, and he bought it here. You're a very well-informed little girl. Then he asked me how old she was. I said, she's 11. And then I thought I should say something a bit grown up, so I said, I'm not convinced by this colour. There's a red one over there. Come and take a look. So I did. I've got to agree with you, sir. A car like this was born to be red. It was nice of him to agree with me, even though I did not remember saying that. She costs a lot of money. I know that. The price was written on the windscreen. It took up most of the windscreen. But she's worth it. Yes, she is. Are you looking to buy, or are you just looking? Yes, I know what I should have said, but to buy sounded more grown up. Would you be bringing your old car in part exchange? No, I like my old car. I'll keep my old car. It's a good car, my old car. I know the score. One's a family car. That's for when you're being a proper grown-up dad for this little girl. And this one is for when you're out playing racing cars. Isn't that right? He winked at Florida. Men, eh? They never grow up, do they? Well, this one definitely hasn't, said Florida. Right, said the man in the suit. Let's pretend we have grown up just for a minute. What do you earn? Well, I said, it varies, really. You're right, you're so right. I'm too nosy. I mean, you haven't even said you want to buy her yet, have you? No, I haven't said that. I'm always giving it the hard sell. A car like this, I should let it sell itself. And that's when Florida said, can we sit inside? He looked at her for a second, and she said, please. Go on then. We both got in. She whispered, you should have told me to say please. But you did say please. Yes, but you should have told me before I had the chance. That's what dads do. The man in the suit looked in and winked at Florida and said, are you comfy? Yep, said Florida. I said, yeah, what, Florida? She said, yes, thanks. And then the man handed me the keys. Go on, he said, you know you want to. Just nudge her out onto the forecourt and see how she handles. Before I could say another thing, he was asking the other salesman to move the other cars out of the way and opening the big doors so I could drive the Porsche outside. I'll push the seat a bit back for you. You're a big lad, aren't you? I could have said, yes, I am a big lad. That does not make me a grown-up, fully qualified driver. But I didn't. I said, thanks, mate. Have you got your licence? No, I don't have my licence. I tried not to sound too happy about that. That's all right. I trust you. Thousands wouldn't. And he waved me into the seat. And he crouched down next to me. And he gave me a guided tour of the dashboard. That's your MP3 player. That's your ergonomic seat thing. That's your sat-nav in case you want to go somewhere. So I turned the key in the ignition, and the key made a sound like a cat purring, and the man stepped aside and pointed to the bonnet. Engineering perfection, he said. It is at the moment, I thought, but in 2 minutes' time, it's going to be 1/2 ton of twisted scrap metal. Thanks very much. Have a great time. Stay indoors. Keep well. Bye.
Wasn't that amazing? Frank Cottrell Boyce. Frank Cottrell Boyce read a special part of the book just for year 5. Ha ha! So good. And I've got to tell you something as well. As he was reading, I was following along on the story, and he did some amazing little embellishments and added words and improvised so much. We just had our own version of Cosmic that no one else in the whole world probably ever have heard before. We're so lucky. Unfortunately, he didn't read to the end of the chapter, so you've got me to the end of the chapter. I know I'm never going to live up to Frank Cottrell Boyce himself, but I'll do it as well as I can. We're just so lucky, aren't we? Everyone also has a massive thank you to Mrs. Wassell for organising that. She was the brains behind all of that, let me tell you. Right, here we go. Rest of chapter 5. So he got up to the bit where he was just getting in the car in the Porsche in the showroom. It is at the moment, I thought, but in 5 minutes' time it might as well be a load of scrap metal. The thing about level 2, of course, is that it has new and unexpected dangers. So you stand a much better chance of being killed. I looked down at the pedals. I knew one of them was the accelerator. I just wasn't sure quite which one. One lesson that World of Warcraft teaches you is that you need to acquire new skills to succeed on the next level. Don't level up until you've skilled up. Sadly, this was a lesson I'd forgotten. I was pretty sure that the accelerator was the one in the middle. I had my foot on it when the door on the passenger side opened and a very familiar voice said, "You, out, now, come on." I probably didn't mention this at the time, Dad, but on balance, I was pleased to see you. When I climbed out, you were shouting at the man in the suit, telling him that I could have been killed, and asked him why they didn't check ages. "How was I supposed to know?" wailed the man. "By checking his licence." "Good point, Dad." "He didn't have one." "Of course he hasn't got one. He's 12 years old." "Look, mate," said the man in the suit, "don't go blaming me because your son's a freak." I thought Dad was going to hit him then. He growled, "He is not a freak. He is normal, but just a bit tall." It wasn't just his height, it was the fact he seemed to have a daughter. Dad's got this little statue of St. Christopher stuck to his dashboard. When he was shoving me into the taxi on the way back from the town centre, I bumped against it and it rolled up on the floor. "Pick that up," said Dad. Okay. You just knocked the baby Jesus off his back. Just don't talk to me, Liam." I said okay, but there was something I wanted to ask him. I waited till we were on the dock road, and then I said, "How did you know where we were?" "I'm your dad," he said. "If you act funny, I notice. If you get on an unexpected bus instead of going home, I'll follow you, even if that means turning down fares and having to boss bawling me at the radio. I'm your dad. That's what dads do." Thinking about how that now makes me wonder if you're out there, somewhere behind us, charging after us through the wastes of space in your taxi. But no taxi would be able to generate the necessary escape velocity. Ask Mr. Church what escape velocity is. In case you are interested, by the way, this is how Dad located us that day. When he gave me his old phone, he bought himself a new one, but he kept his old number. So there were two phones. Phone 1, Dad's, and phone 2, mine, with the same identity. So, if he was ever worried about me, he could just fire up Draxworld and request present position of phone 2.